Welcome. I hope you all had an incredible March break. My name is Jordan Davidson, and this is another edition of Behind the Bench. As I mentioned, it was March break, which means the Mississauga Steelheads this week had a very busy week. We had 4 games. We played the Petes, we played the Colts, we played the Otters, we played the Generals. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get this 4-game recap started. For starters, the Mississauga Steelheads began their week on Tuesday in Peterborough with a game against the Petes, and a reunion with their old buddy Owen Beck, and a return for Jack Van Volsen, Justin Dizzotti, and Stevie Lescovar to their old team. Here's my pregame from Peterborough on Tuesday. Well, what do you know, guys? Daylight savings time. You lose an hour originally, but you get here for a night game, and it's still daylight. But we are back in Peterborough tonight. Peterborough Memorial Center, home of the Peterborough Petes. This is going to be a good one. Let's walk around. Lots of stuff going on tonight's game. It's March break, so it should be a pretty good crowd. Lots of kids and stuff. It's the first time the Steelheads are facing Owen Beck since the trade. It's also the return of Jack, Justin, and Stevie to their old stomping grounds. And the Steelheads could potentially clinch a playoff spot tonight. Lots of stuff could happen. This is going to be a fun one, guys. Been seeing a lot of this guy lately. Yeah, 4 straight road games. Finally back home tomorrow. But let's see what we can do in Peterborough tonight. Peterborough has not been kind to us this season. We're 0-2 against them. But rosters are different now, so maybe we'll see if anything changes. Whoop. There you go. How you doing, Owen? Miss you, buddy. I know it's a brand name and all, but they're missing a great opportunity by not calling it Peterborough Pizza. Missed the boat on that one, guys. Hire me as your creative brain. Hey. I know. Hey. The mascot's ashamed of me, guys. Yeah, I can read. Hey. Look at that! Martone getting a rookie lap. His dad was a Pete, so maybe that's why. Becker chatting it up like old times. Oh, it's like he never left. But like he never left, and for some reason he's wearing a different jersey, but it's almost like he never left. Angus, how you doing? Strutties? Hey, Steve. Number 16, Owen Beck. All right. Next, on our 2023 graduating overage players, 2 of whom are somewhat new faces to the organization, while the third is a 5-year Pete, spending his entire OHL career here with the third minimum. Hey, guys, let's go. Please welcome the center of the President, Captain White. With the playoff clinch on the line, the Steelheads started Ryerson Leanders in net. The Petes started their backup Liam Stushka. Interestingly, in the lineup, they had all the former Petes, Jack Van Volsen, Stevie Lescovar, and Justin Dizzotti in the lineup, as well as the Peterborough native, Porter Martone, in addition to defenseman Finn Harding, and of course, Leanders the goalie. Mason Zabeski was out of the lineup because he was injured in Kingston, hurt his shoulder. But anyway, the puck dropped, and we got underway. The Steelheads looked pretty good in the first period. They led the Shots 16-12. Hope you'll forgive me if I don't remember a whole lot that happened this week, because there was a lot of hockey this week. One thing of note, there was a skirmish at the 13:30 mark that resulted in a roughing minor for Angus McDonnell and a double minor for roughing for Donovan McCoy of the Peterborough Petes, which gave the Steelheads a power play. Steelheads didn't do anything with that power play, though. It would be scoreless after one. Going back to the second. I can't go back to my seat until they do. Okay, got the all clear. Let's get it. Donovan McCoy would be nailed with another penalty just 8 seconds into the second period. This time it would be a high stick, and it would be exactly a minute into the second period that his old teammate would make him pay. Jack Van Volsen converting on a one-time pass from Casper Larsson to put the Steelheads on the board 1-0. Van Volsen with the goal, Larsson with the first assist, and the second assist to James Hardy. That would make it a 1-0 game for the Steelheads. It would not be long after that, though. Just at the 2:27 mark of the second period, Avery Hayes finds himself one-on-one with Ryerson Leanders, and he is able to bury a wrist shot past him to tie the game at 1. Avery Hayes, who's burned as many times as a Bulldog and now gets a chance as a Pete, scores his 39th of the season to give the assist to Cam Govro, and it is 1-1. 1-1 would be your score after 2, but I can't get out of the second period without talking about the massive skirmish that happened at the end. The official time of the penalties was 19:59, so just with a second left in the period. Let me see if I can read off all these penalties here. There are a ton of them. So let's see. We have a roughing call on James Hardy, a double minor for roughing on Porter Martone, a roughing minor and a 10-minute misconduct on Chaz Sharp for unsportsmanlike. On the Pete side, we have a roughing minor on Connor Lockhart, roughing minor and a 10-minute misconduct on Sam Meyer, and a roughing minor on Donovan McCoy as well. So a lot of fun at the end of that period, and as I mentioned, it would be 1-1 after 2. The dust would somewhat settle after that, but Stevie Leskovar would take a roughing call at the 6:50 mark, and it would be the Petes taking the lead on that power play. It'd be Brennan Othman on the goal that looked pretty much the same as Jack Van Volsen's goal in the second period. He would snipe a one-timer, the assist to Brian Zanetti and Connor Lockhart, and 7:26 into the third period, the Petes would have the lead 2-1. Just a few minutes later, at the 10:43 mark, it's our old buddy Owen Beck deciding to remind us how much we miss him with a slap shot that got a piece of Leanders, but found its way into the back of the net. Owen Beck making it 3-1 for the Peterborough Petes. Assists on this one to Brennan Othman and Avery Hayes. We have a 3-1 game. While Owen Beck's goal is being announced, though, the Steelheads would make it a one-goal game again. This time a point shot by Casper Larsson is tipped in front by Lucas Carmiris, who scores his 4th of the year. Carmiris with Casper Larsson getting the lone assist. And at that point, it is 3-2 for the Petes. Unfortunately, the Carmiris goal will be the last thing to go right for the Steelheads in this one. This sequence was a hard one on Leanders. He would stop the initial shot from Connor Smith. Brennan Othman would get a shot. He'd stop that too. But it would be Avery Hayes notching his second on the second rebound. Avery Hayes with his 40th of the year and second of the game. Give the assists again to Brennan Othman and Connor Smith. And it is 4-2 Petes at that point. The shots in this game would be 47-45 for the Peterborough Petes, so both teams doing a great job peppering the goalies. Avery Hayes would complete the hat trick with an empty netter at the 19:54 mark after several attempts. And 5-2 for the Peterborough Petes would be your final in this one. The Steelheads come up short in their first attempt to clinch a playoff spot this week. Here are the 3 stars and my postgame from Peterborough.
And they are all maroon and white tonight. The third star, the Petes, between the lights is number 1, Liam Shushka. There he is!
Okay.
Liam Shushka, shotting 25 shots. Tonight, your second star, the Peterborough Petes, number 70, Brennan Othman. And your first star, with the hat trick tonight, number 29, your first star was ahead by 3,765.
And it's good. He misses it. So the Steelheads would miss that chance to clinch, but they would get another chance the following night in front of the home fans as the Barrie Colts came to town. Here is my pregame from Wednesday. Ooh, feels like it's been a while. Yeah, it was actually that snowstorm game a couple weeks ago that was the last time here. Steelheads have played 4 straight on the road, but are finally back. Parking lot's a bit full already because there's a pregame skate going on. Of course, I don't skate, so I'm not doing it, but yeah, I just came early to chill, maybe see if the sports complex is showing the World Baseball Classic game. But yeah, gonna walk around and take it in. The horses are entering the stable. And they're in their own bus this time. I think it's the first time I've seen their actual bus this season. A wild Moshe appears. He's gonna hug the Barrie players to death. Whew, it's bright out here. Anyway, a little clinching update. The Otters and Generals are holding that 8th spot in the Eastern Conference right now. They sit at 54 points. They had an afternoon game in Ottawa today. I don't know, it's Wednesday, so I guess it was a March break special or something. But they lost that game, which means Oshawa has 5 games left. They're at 54 points, which means the most points they can get is 64, which is the number of points the Steelheads have now. So that means the Steelheads just need one more point, not necessarily a win anymore, but just a point. They get the game to overtime, they clinch playoffs. So that's pretty exciting. Hopefully we do get a win, but yeah, we clinch with a point, guys. Indigenous Day, so an Indigenous artist designed these jerseys today. They look pretty sweet. Look at these things. Who designed the one over there? Yeah. These jerseys are also getting auctioned, so you might be able to have one. Might start seeing them around the rink very, very soon. Ryerson Leaders, after stopping 42 shots against the Petes, would get another chance to start against the Barrie Colts. The Colts would counter with Ben West. Unfortunately, Dylan Gordon hurt himself in the Peterborough game. He injured his knee, so he was not available for the rest of the week, unfortunately, which left the Steelhead short on defense, so Liam Spencer came up and he dressed today. But the puck dropped, and we got underway against the Colts. The Colts get on the board first on the power play. Angus McDonnell serving a delayed game penalty. It is Ethan Cardwell in front of the net. He's scoring like a madman for the Colts this year. This is goal number 39. He takes a pass from Evan Vierling and tips it in. So it is Cardwell with the goal, Vierling and Brant Clark with the assists. And it's 1-0 Colts. But the Steelheads would even it up at the 9:24 mark. Luke Misa passing from behind the net to James Hardy, who's playing in his 250th career OHL game. James Hardy receives the pass and snaps it past Ben West to get the Steelheads on the board. Misa with the lone assist. 37 goals on the year for James Hardy, and it's 1-1. The Steelheads would then take the lead at the 18:32 mark. Lucas Carmeers winning a faceoff in the Barrie zone, and then with some nifty passing, he's able to get in front of the net and tip the shot from Parker Von Richter to give the Steelheads the 2-1 lead. It is Carmeers with the goal, second goal in as many nights. Parker Von Richter and Bryce Cook with the assists. 2-1 is your score, and that is your score after one period. So the Steelheads are looking good, but Barry would even it up again. It's another one of those where it's a big series of rebounds on Ryerson Leanders. Brant Clark would take the first one, Zach Weigel would get a touch, and then finally Ronek Jodouin would clean it up for the Barry Colts, and he would score his 8th goal of the season. Again, Weigel and Clark with the assists on that one, and we have a 2-2 game. Barry then would take the lead at the 13:32 mark. It's an unassisted goal from Bo Akey, which was a point shot. It doesn't show exactly, the video I just watched doesn't show exactly how he got the puck. It must have been off a steal or something, because it was unassisted. But Bo Akey with the go-ahead goal, and the Colts lead at that point 3-2. No worries, though, because at the 16:23 mark, the Steelheads would potentially get the goal of the year from Xander Vecchia, right off a steal, just like Bo Akey did, and he gets it past Ben West to tie the score at 3. And right after scoring, Brant Clark shoves Xander Vecchia into the net, and as soon as Xander stands up, Braden Hachey decides he wants a piece, so they start shoving for a bit. So right after Xander Vecchia scores the tying goal, he and Braden Hachey both get roughing minors, but it would be a 3-3 game at that point. So it's 4-on-4 following that skirmish, and while it is 4-on-4, Parker Von Richter gets his second setup of the game, this time to Angus McDonnell, with a little tip in front of the net. Just chef's kiss. I love how Angus McDonnell is able to do that. So McDonnell gets his 27th goal of the year, assist from Parker Von Richter and James Hardy. The assist by James Hardy, by the way, is his 79th point of the season, which is a new Steelhead single-season high, breaking Nick Hague's record. So just another record James Hardy can add to his mantle. Again, it is McDonnell from Von Richter and James Hardy. And at the end of the second period, the Steelheads lead 4-3. So the Steelheads had taken the lead going into the third, but the Barry Colts were not done. Brant Clark. What can I say about Brant Clark? He is going to be a star someday. Brant Clark with a beautiful shot over the shoulder of Ryerson Leanders, going bar down. He scores his first of the game, give the assist to Jacob Frasca, and at the 4:22 mark of the third period, we're tied again. It's 4-4. Steelheads would take the lead again, though, at the 7:17 mark, and seems to be a theme this week, the series of rebounds. Bryce Cook taking the initial shot from around the point. It carries to Adam Zidlichki, who has a pretty good shot, but somehow Ben West gets enough of a stick on it to keep Zidlichki's attempt out, but it does carry him to Luke Misa, who finishes the job. Misa from Zidlichki and Cook, and the Steelheads take a 5-4 lead. Still lots of hockey left at that time, though, and still lots of time for Brant Clark to work his magic, and work his magic he would. It was on a delayed penalty. I believe it was a hold on James Hardy. They don't put the delayed penalties in the box score when they're canceled by goals. But Brant Clark would get his second goal. A little bit of a tip. Cole Baudouin and Ty York would get the assists on this one. That would make it a 5-5 game. It would remain 5-5 at the end of 3. So this game was headed to overtime, and because the Steelheads got a point, that was all they needed. Regardless of what happened in overtime, they clinched their playoff spot right there. So the Steelheads freshly off clinching playoffs just by getting that extra point, trying to get that second point as well. They would have their chances. Angus McDonnell would ring one off the post, but overtime would solve nothing. And this game, for the third time in the Steelheads season, would go to a shootout. James Hardy would be the first to shoot for the Steelheads in the shootout, fresh off playing in his 250th game and scoring his 79th point of the season, setting the new single-season record for the Steelheads. And he had some more magic in him, opening the shootout scoring with a snipe past Ben West. It'd be 1-0 in the shootout for the Steelheads. Shooter number 1 for the Barry Colts would be their top scorer, Ethan Cardwell. He would advance on Ryerson Leanders, but Leanders was ready for everything Cardwell had for him, and he would stop the shot. So after one round of the shootout, it is 1-0 for the Steelheads. Porter Martone was the second shooter for the Steelheads in this shootout. Now at this point, the Steelheads were 6 for 6 this season in shootout shots, but unfortunately that streak would finally be broken. Porter Martone would be stopped by Ben West. The Steelheads would not be perfect anymore, but would still be 1-0 in the shootout. So with Martone stopped, the Colts had a chance to tie it in the shootout. Their second shooter would be Evan Vierling, and he was able to beat Ryerson Leanders in this one to tie the shootout at 1 apiece. It would go to the crucial third round. So with the shootout tied going into the third round, the Steelheads would choose Parker Von Richter. Now, he's had a pretty good game so far, a couple of assists, but he's maybe not who you'd expect to be this third shooter in a tied shootout. But it worked. Parker Von Richter was able to deke Ben West and get the go-ahead goal in the shootout to make it 2-1 Steelheads. So Ryerson Leanders would have to stop the next shot to win the game, and unfortunately the next shooter for the Barry Colts was Brant Clark. So it was Brant Clark's turn. He'd beaten Ryerson Leanders twice before, but Ryerson Leanders was ready for him this time. Brant Clark deked. Ryerson Leanders didn't fall for it. He was able to stop the shot and complete the shootout win for the Mississauga Steelheads. They already got the clinch based on just getting to overtime, but they got the win as well. It is a 6-5 final in the shootout for the Mississauga Steelheads. So a big win to clinch a playoff spot for the Mississauga Steelheads, and the Barrie Colts being a potential opponent. It was good to have a game like that against them to show that they could do it in the playoffs as well, potentially. Here are the 3 stars and my post-game from Wednesday. All right! Shootout win! There we go! Yeah. Oh, he's watching for it. Yeah.
Question here. Take us through that second period goal, because everybody in here was jaw-dropped.
I don't know, I just saw the opportunity of the guys a little bit. They gave me the opportunity, but obviously worked out pretty well. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right. How are you? Okay.
No, it's a deep bone bruise on my knee. Probably like weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be
Aw. Great shot, buddy. Aww. All the love in this building. Yeah.
I know. You are
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
not being rude. You look like a little baby. It's not a bad thing, though, I promise.
Which one do you like more though? Clean face or?
Clean face, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, madam.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Adam's face. See you, Gasper. Game boys. How you doing? Pretty good. Oh, man. Got some scratches on your face there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See ya. Just got a nice bath on the ice. But yeah. See you, buddy. Yeah.
This Friday.
Oh.
That was not fun, guys. Sorry.
That was hilarious, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Comment if it was hilarious.
Guys.
So the midweek portion of March break was done for the Steelheads, and they will go into their regular weekend routine now, starting with the Friday night game against the Erie Otters. Here is my pregame from there. We just beat the Colts. Really great idea. Play the Otters next, so we're back here. Happy St. Paddy's Day, y'all. As I said, the Erie Otters are in town tonight. Let's walk around. Looks like I caught the fake Erie Otters bus, you know, with its Ontario license plate. Backing up to gas up, I think, but yeah, the bus is here. I imagine it's delivered the players already, so we got ourselves a game on this St. Paddy's Day. The Otter invasion, y'all. They're not usually on this side. Okay, making me do it. There we go. The green logo's on the ice. Gotta love it. It's not time yet, y'all. There we go. Now it's time. Let's go, Bags. Well, I guess blue and yellow make green. Happy St. Patty's Day, y'all. All-time single-season scoring leader James Hardy leaves the ice and warm-ups come to a close. Charles the photographer got the nice green shirt on. You can kind of see JR's green tie. It's almost hockey time, folks. Let's get it. Hope we got the luck of the Irish tonight. Starting goalie for the Steelheads tonight was Alessio Bellieri. The Erie Otters countered with Nolan Lalonde. Mason Zabeski returned from his 2-game absence, and Charlie Callahan returned from his 2-week absence. So that was a welcome sight. Unfortunately, Kai Schwint was not able to play tonight. He wasn't even in the building, so I couldn't ask him why. But he was back for the next game, so it was just the one game. But anyway, the puck dropped, and we got underway. Erie would take the first penalty of the game. It would be Alexis Davio going off for slashing at the 5:34 mark. But Malcolm Spence, a few seconds later, would get a steal and get a one-on-one with Alessio Bellieri and fire home a shorthanded goal to open the scoring for the Erie Otters. Malcolm Spence unassisted, and it's 1-0 just like that. The Steelheads would tie it up on the next Erie penalty, though. Colby Segeniuk off for a hook, and this time will be Luke Misa finding Xander Vecchia on the other side of the ice with a beautiful east-west pass. Xander Vecchia cleaning it up, and Xander Vecchia would tie this game at 1. Vecchia from Luke Misa and Kasper Larsson on the power play, and we got ourselves a 1-1 game. It would only take 35 seconds for the Erie Otters to take the lead back, though. This time it would be Malcolm Spence passing in front to Kerry Terrence, whose initial shot was stopped by Bellieri, but would rebound right back to him, and Terrence would bury the second chance shot. Terrence from Malcolm Spence, and that would give the Erie Otters a 2-1 lead. But we're not done in this period quite yet. 16:39 mark, and what is possibly the best fourth-line shift of the year, Justin Dezzotti finds his way into the zone with some deking, and then finds Quinn Binney in front of the net, centers it to him, and Quinn Binney finishes it off for his first OHL goal. It's been a long time coming for Quinn Binney. I'm really proud of the dude. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Quinn Binney gets his first OHL goal, assist to Justin Dezzotti and Mason Zabeski, and 2-2 would be your score after 1. A pretty physical and defensive second period. Mississauga would lead the shots in the first period, by the way, 11-9, but Erie would lead them 14-8 in the second period. There'd be a tiny bit of rough stuff. Kerry Terrence and Porter Martone would get tied up and get roughing minors. That was at the 13-19 mark. At the 19-20 mark as well, Kasper Larsson would go off for a slash, and Erie would finally take the lead with just 6 seconds left in the second period. Kerry Terrence with the second goal, Malcolm Spence and Sam Alfano with the assist, and it would be 3-2 Erie going into the third. Not to worry, though, middle of the third period, at the 10-13 mark, Kasper Larsson would make up for the penalty that led to the go-ahead goal by scoring the tying goal on a pass from Porter Martone. Kasper Larsson with a beautiful snipe to make it a 3-3 game. Larsson with the goal, Porter Martone and Adam Zidlichki with the assists. It'd be 3-3. 3-3 is your score after 3 periods, which means for the second straight game, we'd be heading to overtime. It would be an eventful overtime for the Steelheads and a bit of a scary one, as Jack Van Volsen would bring down Malcolm Spence on a breakaway. Spence would be awarded the penalty shot on Alessio Bellieri, but Bellieri would stop it. Nothing to worry about there. Finally, at the other end, at the 2:45 mark, Adam Zidlichki bringing it up and sweeping past Nolan Lalonde and firing the game winner. Adam Zidlichki with the goal, Kasper Larsson and Angus McDonough with the assists. Steelheads win it in overtime, 4-3 final over the Erie Otters. Another big win at home as the Steelheads are trying to collect every point possible to get the best playoff matchup they can. Here are the 3 stars and my post-game from the game against Erie.
All right, fans, here are the 3 stars of the game presented by First star, when his first career
Binney! Who wants the Binney bottle? There we go. Kasper Larsson! There you go. Adam Zidlichki! boy.
All right, heading into the third period, you guys are down to goal. Take us through the comeback. All right, you guys have officially clinched the playoff spot. So how excited are you guys to be heading back there? Awesome, thanks so much.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. He's standing there like, is it gonna happen? Okay. Aww.
It's on the peak.
Oh.
Thank you. You guys go.
Hey, Porter. Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm alright. How are you? Thank you. Have a good
Yeah. See you, Struts. Yeah.
What's the difference between the Q and the L? It's pretty much the same. It's just the comeback version of the Ontario.
Yeah.
Growing up, was there ever a time when you saw somebody that was a puck and they finally got it? Like, I need to pass the puck. When does that message get sent to you? Like, you got to pass the puck and hit this level.
I think the majority of the guys who realize the playoffs, all everyone wants to do is win. They realize that taking off of the puck doesn't really help anyone. So,
It's okay. You can't smell pictures. It's all good. Hey. Yeah. Yeah.
Stop, touch my butt. Austin, get your hat.
See you out.
They're best friends, right?
Take some water and space. Water sickness.
Yeah. Good night, boys. The snipers arrived.
Jolly. No, like in English. And I guess in French. Car. Car. Is it mobile? What is it? No, it's so hard. And Austin, what is it?
Yeah. Bye bye.
Someone's gonna have to put up on your hat, but yours is over hat, so. It's gonna have to put up on the front part of your hat, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Sorry.
Great saves there. Just here?
Yeah, you can probably go up on the hat or whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
What do you want, buddy? Michael, you can make money on the hotel. Every time you do it, it's charge him $1. No? There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard nothing else. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna bring it. He's too shy.
You want me to?
Oh, you signed it?
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Hi, Finn.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Luke, were you alright? You took a little bit of it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hurt my shoulder a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to play Sunday, but I'll probably
Flying
up.
up.
Yeah, you're so fast.
Yeah.
How's your brother? Is his leg better?
Oh, yeah, he played Wednesday and I played tonight too. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no worries.
I was ashamed you guys didn't get a chance to play on family.
Yeah. Yeah. See you later, bud.
See? Look, you got the ball.
Got every single one of them, buddy.
Yeah.
There you go. 91, that's who you wanted, right?
You got the end goal, right?
Yeah.
Winning goal, yep.
Yeah, great shot.
Thank you.
So to conclude their week, the Steelheads traveled to Oshawa for a Sunday evening game against the Generals. Here is my pregame from Oshawa. Well, if you're an OHL traveler like me, you know that this funny looking thing means we are in Oshawa. And here we are outside the Tribute Community Center, home of the Oshawa Generals and Gens Nation. This is where we're concluding our very long week, 4 games. That week ends tonight. Let's walk around. That old familiar sight outside the arena in Oshawa. Most OHL teams usually play their Sunday games in the afternoon, but Oshawa is one of those rare teams that play them in the evenings. It's a 6 o'clock start tonight, 6:05 technically. So it will be dark when we get out tonight. So yeah, Sunday night hockey, gotta love it. All the legends who played for the Generals over the years. There's John Tavares and Eric Lindros right next to each other there. Bobby Orr up top here, the black and white one. If we move over to this side, there's a young man here named Anthony Cirelli, who is now a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but the Generals traded Cirelli at the trade deadline in 2017 to the Erie Otters, and it was Anthony Cirelli who scored the overtime winner in the OHL Finals to win the championship for the Erie Otters against a team called the Mississauga Steelheads. So, yeah, he's kind of broken our hearts before. He also scored an overtime winner in the Memorial Cup a couple years before that, too, for the Generals. So, yeah. Look who came today. The boys love it. So as you might know, Oshawa and Kingston are fighting it out for the last playoff spot in the East. Oshawa is currently 1 point ahead of Kingston, and because Oshawa plays Sunday evening games, every other OHL game today is already over before this one starts. Kingston played in Kitchener this afternoon and lost 6-0, so Oshawa remains a point ahead of them. If they win, they create some space, so but we don't want them to win because we're Steelheads fans, right? So, yeah. This week coming up, which is the final week of the regular season, by the way, I believe Kingston and Oshawa play each other twice. They play in Kingston on Wednesday, and on the last day of the regular season on Sunday, Kingston and Oshawa play here. So those are going to be huge games. Might decide the last playoff spot, so stay tuned for that. Whoop. Puck from Jeff. Attaboy. Kai back after missing the last one. Celebrating with the puck tricks. Marty! There we go. And another warm-up ends.
Mike Hamilton will be retiring from the OHL officiating team following the season. Please welcome Conrad Hashing, Director of Officiating of the Ontario Hockey League, for a special presentation on behalf of the league. Mike, on behalf of the league, we recognize your significant accomplishments and contributions over the last 11 seasons, including, listen to this folks, 2 Memorial Cup appearances, 6 OHL Championship Series, 1 CHL Top Prospects game, 3 games in the Canada-Russia Series, for a total of 510 OHL regular season games and 108 playoff games. Once again, congratulations, Mike Hamilton, on an incredible OHL officiating career.
Ryerson Leanders was scheduled to start in Oshawa. He was announced as the starter, and he came out first in warm-ups, but apparently he suffered a minor injury in warm-ups, so Alessio Bellieri got the call. Leanders was still dressed as the backup. He looked okay. Wasn't sure what the injury was, but I don't know. Jacob Oster was the goalie for Oshawa. Kai Schwint was back after his 1-game absence, but as Luke Misa told us, he did not play in Oshawa. So the puck dropped, and we got underway. Not a super eventful first period. The shots were 16-11 in favor of the Generals. Stevie Leskovar would take a slashing call at the 8:16 mark, and just 1 second after he got out at the 10:17 mark, would be Oshawa getting on the board first. Luke Torrance with a shot from the center, assist by Cameron Butler and Matthew Buckley, and that would make it 1-0 Oshawa. That would be the only goal of the first period. 1-0 Oshawa after 1. It didn't stop there. Oshawa would make it 2-0 at the 3:52 mark of the second period. To be Cameron Butler with a small chip shot that would beat Alessio Bellieri glove side. Stuart Roloffs and Thomas Stewart would get the assists on the Cameron Butler goal, and that would make it 2-0 for the Generals. A little deja vu for the Oshawa Generals as they would get another goal right as a penalty was expiring. Kai Schwint was called for a check from behind at the 8:21 mark, and at the 10:24 mark, as Kai Schwint was just rejoining the play, it would be Matthew Buckley firing one past Alessio Bellieri and making it 3-0 for the Oshawa Generals, give the assist to Luca D'Amato and Cameron Butler, and we have a 3-0 game. Steelheads finally would get on the board at the 14:57 mark of the second period, and it's Lucas Carmiras continuing his hot streak, finding Jacob Oster one-on-one and sniping one past him. So Lucas Carmiras, 3 goals coming into this week, and now 3 goals during this week, so he's up to 6 now. Give the assist to Mason Zabeski and Quinn Binney. That's his first OHL assist after he got his first OHL goal on Friday, so a little hot streak for Binney as well. That makes it 3-1 for the Oshawa Generals. However, with just 20 seconds left in the second period, the Oshawa Generals would restore the 3-goal lead on a goal by Beckett Seneca, one that would just squeak through Alessio Bellieri's legs. There was a challenge. I don't think there was any question about whether the puck went in, but I think Bellieri thought he was bumped a little bit, so they challenged it. It was upheld, though. Beckett Seneca with the goal, assists by Stuart Roloffs and Dylan Rubrick. And after 2 periods, it is 4-1 for the Generals. Third period now, Beckett Seneca, who scored the 4th Oshawa Generals goal, would take a penalty for cross-checking at the 2:58 mark, but just a few seconds later at the 3:16 mark, Ryan Gagne of the Generals would get a shorthanded break and finish it off with a backhand to make it 5-1 for the Generals. Gagne with the goal. Luke Torrance got the lone assist on that one, and that would make it 5-1. 6:36 mark, and we would see a scrap between Stevie Leskovar and Ryder McIntyre of the Oshawa Generals. In my humble opinion, Stevie Leskovar won that fight. I did see later that Ryder McIntyre got suspended, so I guess he's been fighting a little too much. I remember Ryder McIntyre in a fight earlier this season when he was a Sarnia Sting with Ethan Del Mastro, so yeah, I guess he's been fighting a bit too much. But yeah, it was interesting. They said the fight was sponsored by some kind of scrap metal company in the area, so I guess scrap. So yeah, I thought that was a little funny, but yeah, a little bit of entertainment, and Steelheads had something going for them there with Leskovar winning that fight. Game was a little bit out of reach at that point, but maybe the fight sparked the Steelheads a little bit. They were able to make it 5-2 shortly after that. Angus McDonnell tipping a Charlie Hallahan shot in front of the net for his 28th of the year, gave the assist to Callahan and James Hardy. And at the 8:17 mark of the third period, it is 5-2. Oshawa wasn't done, though. A late holding penalty on Chaz Sharp at the 17:03 mark would result in a power play goal from the Oshawa Generals. Matthew Buckley with his second of the game. Luke Torrance and Joseph Serpa would pick up the assists. That would make it 6-2 late. I mean, by this point, you knew it was pretty much over for the Steelheads in this game. Porter Martone would get a late goal to make it 6-3. And 6-3 Oshawa would be your final. Steelheads can't get it done against the desperate Fringe team despite outshooting them 17-6 in the third period and 41-32 overall. Here are the 3 stars and the post-game from Oshawa.
Oh, they're all shaking Hamilton's hand. Oh. I don't have to call penalties on you anymore. Yeah. Now it's time to the coaches. JR is a big softie. Raiders have been around a long time.
The next third star from your Generals, number 17, Luke Torrance. Tonight's second star from your Generals with a couple of goals, number 11, Matthew Buckley. with 2 goals, 7 assists, and recently signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets, number 42, Cameron Butler.
So tough one for the Steelheads. The win for the Generals gives them a 3-point edge on that final playoff spot. So we'll see if that holds through the final week. We do see the Generals again on Friday in Mississauga, so we'll have a chance to affect that again. But we're gonna go meet the guys. The bus loads indoors, so probably not gonna be able to see the bus, but we'll go to the family friends area and see who comes up there.
Thank you.
No worries, bud.
I know you got your dad.
Nice. Well, the collector is here. So the March break week finally ends for the Steelheads with a 6-3 loss in Oshawa. Didn't get him on camera, but Luca Del Babaluz was actually at the game tonight. Went downstairs after the game to say hi to the guys. Got some shots of his dad after the game, but I started shooting after Luca actually went into the dressing room to talk to the guys. But yeah, I'm going home now. We'll see you back in Mississauga next week. The Generals are going to be there on Friday, so until then.
Now, I'm not going to get into a big talk today because we did just recap 4 games, but I do want to say briefly, I think it says a lot about the family atmosphere the Steelheads creates inside the locker room that we saw J.Q. Birdie come visit this week. We saw Luca Del Babaluz come to the game this week. Obviously, we played Owen Beck's team, but Owen Beck visited the bus after. He didn't have to do that, so a lot of reunions this week. Some expected, some not so expected, and very much a pleasant surprise. And I think it goes to show this team is a family. Once a Steelhead, always a Steelhead. I've always said it. In any case, the final week of the OHL season is upon us, and the Steelheads play their final 3 games in the form of a 3-3 this weekend, starting on Friday, March 24th with a home game against the Otters and Generals, who we just faced. Another home game the next day, Saturday, March 25th. That is against the Peterborough Petes, and that is the final home game of the Steelheads regular season. The final game of the Steelheads regular season is the next day, Sunday, March 26th, and that is at the North Bay Battalion. So, Friday at home to Oshawa, Saturday at home to Peterborough, and Sunday at North Bay. Those are the final 3 games of the Steelheads regular season before the playoffs begin. I will be at all 3 games. I hope to see some of you guys there. Once again, I end by asking the OHL and CHL please allow the fair use of your professional and amateur footage. Help the small media so they can help you. Until next time, you can find me behind the bench and only the bench. This is Jordan signing off. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.